What's going on, everyone? Jack here from ACRO, and today I want to give you 10 different ways that you can improve your FPV quad. Now, I specifically was thinking about tiny whoops when I kind of came up with this idea, but I think most of these actually will work with 5-inch or really anything you're flying FPV. Now, most of these things are free or fairly inexpensive, so let's see if we can't give you a better FPV experience. Stay tuned. Now, there are a handful of things that you can do just in beta flight to make your flying experience a little bit better. And I want to start there before I get into some of the other things, like a throttle cut on a dial, so you can kind of dial the throttle exactly how you want. And then some things that you might want to buy to have around the house to just make repairs and other things just better, right? So let's start inside of beta flight, because I think there are a few things in there that you might want to consider. Now, initially, I was pretty intimidated by beta flight, but once you kind of play around, it isn't all that bad. So let's start there. And the first thing you want to make sure you do is you have your motor set to beep in case you crash. So log into beta flight, and we're going to go down to your configuration. And down here in the D-Shop beacon configuration, there are two things: RX loss and RX set. I suggest you turn both of those on because if you crash or you get disconnected, you can find your drone. It just makes the motors beep. Sometimes this is turned off by default. I don't know why. It should always be on. Then you just flip a switch on your remote and your drone will start beeping so you can find it. Once you turn both of those on, make sure you click save and reboot, and then you're gonna go over to the modes tab on the left and then make sure that you have that beeper turned on. If your beeper is not there, you're gonna go ahead and add range and then put it on a switch. I almost always put mine on aux 3 and I slide it to the down position, so then when I flip it forward, my drone will start to beep. Click save and you're good to go there. Now, the second thing I think you need to do is crash recovery, and that is also in beta flight. This time we're going to the CLI tab. You're gonna type set crash underscore recovery. There you go, equals on, enter, and then you're gonna make sure you type save, enter again. Now, what that does is if you're flying in angle mode and you hit something, it'll actually help you self-level. Otherwise, flying in angle mode, if you bump into something, it's almost always a crash. You can do that on any drone, and super helpful. I've found that has saved me and made me a better ACRO flyer. Now, another thing that I think has helped me, especially when I'm trying to hit gaps, is inside of the OSD here. You're gonna wanna make sure you turn on the crosshairs. I don't see crosshairs on this drone, and that I've found just really helps me to dial in on that center spot that I'm trying to fly. When I'm flying gaps, line that crosshairs up and you'll be good to go. All right, so click crosshairs. Mine appears to not be in the center. I don't know why. Put it right there in the middle and you're good to go. There are other things inside the OSD that you may want to change. Always make sure you have your battery level there. You know, having a timer on here is pretty good. It kind of helps with the battery level also. And then make sure you have your warnings on as well. Most of these warnings are good. We're gonna make sure we click save, and now we have the crosshairs on there. Another fun thing in the OSD, not necessary, but go ahead and change your name to something more personal. I'm gonna go with half chrome here, and now when I fly, I'll see half chrome in the OSD instead of, I think it was Tiny Hawk 3 or something. Just kind of fun. Don't have to do that. That's not necessarily going to make it better, but that's kind of fun. Another thing you want to do in beta flight is in the configuration tab under arming. Make sure that's set to 180 degrees. That means you can arm your drone if it's upside down. Sometimes the beeper doesn't work, and you can kind of spin the motors and hear where it's at. And kind of to that end, I would also, in the modes tab, go ahead and enable flip over after crash. It'll reverse the motors and you can spin and flip it over. Don't do this in grassy areas, right? Or you know, heavy shag carpet with one of these things, because you're gonna burn out a motor. If it doesn't flip right away, go get your quad, flip it over yourself. So that's inside of beta flight. Let's talk about some of the other things you're gonna want to do here. My next recommendation is this stuff. This is E6000 glue. If you fly tiny whoops, you absolutely need this stuff. It is great for repairs. A lot of times these little spindles will break kind of here. This is great for repairs, so you don't have to change out your entire frame. But even more importantly, a lot of the VTXs have a UFL connector, and at some point when you crash, it's going to pop off. And if you run out of high VTX power or you don't get to it in time, it will actually ruin your VTX. You'll have a bad picture for the rest of the time you're flying the drone with an all-in-one board. You have to replace the whole board. You don't want to do that. A little dab of this glue right there on that UFL connector will save your VTX. It's also good to put over, if you're not a great solderer or you're not 100% certain that your solder joint is going to hold, throw a little dab of welder glue on there. That'll help hold that solder in place. So say if you were, replacing the battery connector, I'll talk about that in a little bit. A little dab of welder glue there will help hold that in place as well. This is great stuff. It's cheap. It's less than 10 bucks. Definitely want to pick some of this up. Okay, this is a performance improvement for whoops specifically. Older tiny whoops have this pH 2.0 connector, and it's just not that great. You're going to get some battery sag, and if you go to either a BT 2.0 or a G&B A30 connector, you're going to get a better, more consistent power flow. It's going to feel like a tiny little upgrade. If you have changed your battery connector, you're going to need some new batteries. I do like these G&Bs with the A30 connector, and Beta FPV makes these new lava batteries, which are significantly better than these old BT 2.0 batteries from Beta FPV. This battery charger is also a battery discharger, and if you're not going to fly all your batteries, when you're done, storage charge your batteries. There's a little switch here that allows you to do that. Not all chargers can do that. I can charge 6 batteries. I can charge pH 2.0s. I can discharge all of those things. But yeah, this will help your batteries last a little bit longer. And again, this isn't super expensive. I think this was like 20 bucks. Actually, I can charge 6 at a time. I'm going to pick up another one of these things so I can charge 12 at a time, or storage charge 12 at a time. Now, if you're looking for any of these things that I mentioned in the video, I will have links down below. Yes, they're affiliate links. They help support the channel. That is how I can continue to make videos for you. So take a look down there if you're looking for any of this stuff. Okay, why do we sometimes have 2-blade props and sometimes have 3-blade props? What's going on? What's the difference? Now, a 2-blade prop is really good for just straight up speed, and a 3-blade prop will give you a little bit more cornering ability. So pick up some new props and take a look, right? Anytime your props get dinged or dented, you're going to want to remove them. You're going to change them out. You're just going to fly so much better and smoother with brand new props. So kind of think about, do you want cornering? Do you want speed? And then pick up the props based on what you're looking for. Also, sometimes the pitch angle, the more aggressive or steep it's going to be, the better cornering, the more power you're going to get instantly. But also, that's going to drain your battery a little bit quicker. So 2-blade props, it will give you more flight time versus a 3-blade prop will also drain your battery a little bit quicker than a 2-blade prop. So just some things to consider when you're flying props. Make sure you check them and kind of think about, do I want aggressive, 2 or 3? Lots of different things to think about. Okay, another way to get better at flying is flying in a simulator. There are a bunch of good ones out there. Liftoff is really good. Tiny Whoop Go is really good. Velocidrone is really good. They all cost something. Actually, I think Tiny Go is free. But there is one other simulator that I like and I actually use this at school because it was free and easy to get on a Chromebook. And that is the Curry Kitten FPV Simulator, CK FPV Sim. It's great to use as a free tool to get better and learn how to fly. You can customize things inside of the simulator, and it's just going to make you a better pilot. You can use the actual remote that you fly with. Most of these have a USB port here. You're just going to connect to your controller, and then you can start flying. Pretty awesome. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about here is putting a throttle cut on a dial. Okay, so I'm going to walk through this process on my Radiomaster Boxer. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Model. We're going to do Model 07. I'm going to hit Page, and I'm going to hit Page until I get to the Mixes tab. Now, I'm adding a throttle cut, so I'm going to go down to Throttle. I'm going to long press on Throttle and then Insert After. and I'm going to go to my throttle as my source. I can click on that, and I'm going to change the source here to this knob S1. I see S1 pop up. Click it, go down to weight, click on the weight, and I'm going to change my weight to 25. Click on that. I'm going to go down to my offset, and I'm going to change my weight to 75 here. Click on that. I'm going to scroll down here to my switch. Now I want to put it on a switch. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this switch here because when I press it, it stays in. And when I press it, I can see it says SE down. That is what I'm looking for. And I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to change multiplex from add to multiply. Now you don't have to worry about the logistics of this because it just works. All right, now I'm going to go back out, hit return until I get to that same screen. And I'm going to long press on what I just did there, and I'm going to insert after. Scroll down to my throttle again, select it, and I'm going to make it S1 by just moving this S1 dial. Enter, go to my weight, and again, I'm going to make it 25. And then after this is where it changes just a little bit. Okay, now my offset here is going to go minus 25. I'm going to scroll down to my switch. I'm going to put it on the same SE down. And my multiplex needs to be add now instead of multiply. So this is going to do what I'm looking for, hopefully. All right, now I'm going to return. No, I'm going to return out. Let's take a look at my channels monitor to see what is happening here. So normally my throttle, right, I'm just going to worry about the throttle here, going up and down, right? We're at 100, we're at minus 100. That's what we want. Now, as I put this switch on, things are going to be a little bit different, right? So my S1 switch is right here in the middle, and as I go to the top, it only goes to half throttle. Oh, that's interesting. I could dial it all the way up to 100% throttle by dialing my dial all the way to the top, and now it just works normal. Well, what if I wanted to go to, say, 75% throttle, right? I just dial it down, right? I'm at 86%, I want 80. I want 75, I want 70. I can dial it all the way back down to no throttle, right? Now my throttle just won't work, right? So you can kind of decide how much throttle you want on this switch. And let's put it at 50 so you can see what happens here. And because it's on this switch, right, if I just wanted to work normally, now the switch has no effect. It has no effect if it's not activated, and then once it's activated, it does. So that is a way to kind of tame some of these drones if they're too powerful. I find my 75-inch quads are just a little bit much for me to fly indoors, and I put that throttle on a dial, and then I can dial it down and then dial it up as I get more used to it. Or if I'm flying, say, a 5-inch here, and that's just too powerful on 6S, I can dial it down. So it's a great tool and a great way to kind of help you learn without being, out of control. I really like that. You can also, you can put it on other radios. As long as you have a screen, it's easy to do. I put it on my pocket here with this dial, and I actually use this switch here. So you can just change the switch and change the source. And if you don't have a radio that's running Edge TX, you can do it in the CLI. And Oscar Liang has a great article on how to do that. I'll throw a link in the description down below. But I think this is a great way to kind of help you learn and kind of improve your skills. And just making the drone a little bit less powerful makes it a little bit easier to fly, I think. So hopefully this video will help make your life as an FPV pilot just a little bit easier. And if you're looking for any of this stuff, again, not super expensive, but hey, use the affiliate links. It helps the channel out. Good luck, everyone, and happy flying.